necessarily too much of a surprise when we announce this. But I feel like we should have a drum roll or something. But it will be Bind that we are playing on. It looks like we are going straight into the agent selector, and I'm liking what I'm seeing. A little bit of variety already.
No, yeah, this is very, I still feel like traditional, right? We may even be getting a near mirror match composition, the only difference being that Gecko versus the Sky. But to touch on the map pool a little bit and how things went, I'm surprised. Falke Esports actually floated Sunset, and S2G Esports, despite their 13-3 dominance over Novo, decided to play Bind a new map over the map they just played. So we talked about getting reps on multiple maps while you have that safety net, while you're in the best ones over the best of threes, and I think that is exactly what S2G is leaning into. Versus S2G, they banned Haven outright. They're like, we don't want to play that like you just did against, obviously, Katsuya, and now this is what we get. Vine, you are super excited for this map. What do you think of the return to old-style comps?
I have adored Bind since the beginning of it being in existence. I just love it as a map, and I know that's a really controversial opinion. That genuinely might be my hottest Valorant take, right? Is that I really love Bind as a map, and I think it leans into lots of options for how you can choose to play, especially when we're going to see it later in the Blender drafts. I think it could be a map that is floated a little bit later into the veto just because of the versatility. And I'm excited, as you said, that we're seeing, instead of choosing to lean into the safety net of Sunset that you've just shown such prowess on, right? That you choose something a little bit different, and that you get the opportunity maybe to test some stuff out to get your footing found a little bit more. Alternatively, there is a worry here that you're showing a little bit early on. If you want to play with that Sunset and people want to look back and they want to anti-strat and they want to make their notes on you, then they're going to have more opportunity to do so across a wider breadth of maps here. But I mean, it's never a bad day when we're on Bind.
No, it never is. And as we're going to jump into the action, obviously it is going to be S2G starting on the defense, a Falke on that attack. And I will say, in these kind of puggier environments as they still come into their final form, I don't know why, but Bind gets super sided really quick. Like, you have like 10-2, 9-3 comeback ability no matter what side you start on, and it's kind of crazy to see. But also looking at this kind of, again, return to more standard compositions, we have some role swaps from the first time these two teams had. We have Stella's away from the Sentinel onto the Smokes. We have Lida also taking a step back, was a little bit slower on the Jet, so Annie's picking up the Duelist. And I also think that's a statement, having your GC player there trying to pick up the frag roll, that potential. And I've been waiting for a player like that to step up, and we'll see if it's here.
We will see step-ups indeed. A heavy lean over towards B early, and there is only one line of defense available. All goes up. It's going to stall them for just a second, but actually, there's a little bit of a nosy that it's been a bit quiet over towards A. Rotate's starting to come on through early, but here it is. It's going to be the activation. Annie leading the charge.
This is a pure retake angle. I really do not expect this Viper. I don't expect Reigns to swing at all. They're just going to calm that the planet is going down, call for their troops to rally over. And my concern is, yeah, the ZT Monarch lurk. Will it keep the players posted up on A? I was wondering if they were going to find a kill or a proper flank lurk timing, but this is an interesting approach from Falke as well. They've gotten behind the lines, and because they didn't have that sound cue of the plan, because no contact has been made, I'm very worried for this Brimstone in spawn. Oh.
I mean, it's Celestine. We talked about how amazing they were earlier. It's able to get one and get away alive. There is going to be a pick on Terrain Sub, but there's the spike going on down. They can immediately get into the post plant, heal on up the team, and get ready to survive the onslaught heading their way. Flash goes in. It's going to give a whole lot of information. There's going to be a swing off the back of it. Aegea's going to get one, and they're just toying with the angle here, trying to hold them at bay. Another amazing flash comes through, but there has to be a reload, and so it won't be fully capitalized upon. Monarch and a little bit of a spray, but it's actually really going to be needed. The rest of the team swings on out, and now it's just Aegea looking to try get out of dodge, but unfortunately even that is a far-fetched dream.
Wow, I mean, even if the shots were a little bit whiffy at times, those flashes and just the pure delay of that deep elbow control that came out of the early spawn fight. And I also like that they didn't overstay their welcome in CT, right? They got the kill, they got the trade, and they got out, and that's really all they were looking for. And in the meantime, right, they were able to still handle that hookah pressure, so it wasn't a late round concern either. So really effectively done, I'd say, into that regard. And it was just these consistent team fights, right? It wasn't one player swinging elbow, it was two. It wasn't one player swinging backside towards TC, it was two. And now as a result, Falke get the buy up, they get these aggressive tendencies, and we might get a little eco attempt.
Oh, shoulder spotted. Monarch actually Not be able to find the pick. They're just gonna let them slip away here. There's a look, there's a jump over by the dog. It is not quite gonna tag up, and they're not gonna be able to back off the back of it, but... Ooh, double down here from Camis, but...
Beautiful nade timing there, and then they're able to capitalize off of it perfectly as well. That is spike down, no weapons collected just yet, and that's why you see this mad dash as well from the remaining players to just try and prevent the sand control, prevent these weapons from falling over. But a really beautifully placed sky smoke allows for safe passage, now robs them of information that the boom bot's going to start re-clearing out here, but at this point, both have gotten away. There's 45 seconds left. What do you do? Yeah.
That was my worries. It was dropped slightly awkwardly, but the smokes allow for them to find it. They are just going to back away, but they don't really have the time to go over towards A and clear everything out. So it is going to have to be the push over towards this B side. But actually, as you can see, well, we have the hindsight and the X-ray here. We can see that they've all backed away. So a clear sight they will have and a clear run at the throne here.
I'm okay with this, actually. I feel like if you're trying to fight that 3v2 with sub-onto weapons and half HP from that little TP play, regrouping and playing the 3-on-3 retake here, you can take TP, you can take spawn together, is really, really smart. I'm going to be looking towards Falke to see how proactive they get yet again, right? I feel like they were a little bit shaken, I think, by the teleporter play, by the hookah refight, but now it's just, yep, there it is, them as a squad rolling on through. We'll see what they're able to find here.
His retake comes on over. Oh, that smoke is going to be devastating in their attempts to try and clear this back. And he's just waiting for a jump on over the top. But there it is. Chinook finds the first. Last back dropped at their feet. No one's even going to be able to get close to it, however. Salasun has a look, but is immediately taken down. A three-piece there from Chinook. That'll be the second round claimed and secured on the board.
Yeah, it is just a little bit unfortunate that all of those kills so valiantly fought for out of the nade TP play from S2G didn't really reward them with any surplus of weapons, right? Even after they, again, fought for this deep control, you can see here, yeah, that was a Spectre deep hook guy thing, but they weren't able to recollect it and use that to convert in this situation. So as a result, they're gonna keep it fairly clean. They did again drop a few weapons, which is nice to see, but all in all, this is where we need to start seeing that ball get rolling. S2G weapons in hand, and looking like they're confident on the shower fight, because S2G is gonna win that.
Lovely swing out there. Always worrying swinging into a scoped weapon, but alas, straight through the wall is going to be noted. Salasun's going to bide their time and then swing, and that's going to be the pick that they need. Two already. And you said this is the round that they wanted to step up, and step up they have. HP looking low, but it's only on one player. Now crawling on forward. Gotcha. Spam through the walls, going to find Leroy Sane. And now Agia on high alert. The only one here right now taken down. Lida. Clear through all of the site. Not going to spot anything just yet. Oh, here it is. Just in the last second at Lamps. Rainter. Yeah, nothing to be found.
Yeah, I really liked that setup though, right? You're thinking, oh, it's gonna be an outlaw. Psych, it's a hero Vandal from Lida, just setting her up on that line to succeed. So huge out of Comisec, opens up the site. Now they know where one player's isolated. They're trying to take that engagement, but surprise! Salasun also made his way into U-Haul in the meantime, and now it's suddenly a 1v2. Comisec trying to weave and bob around the smoke to isolate fights, and doesn't look like either gonna be given to them in the meantime.
There it is, swing around the side. Xena to find the final pick. Loads of time in the world for this. They can have a little bit of a meander, see if there's any weapons they particularly want to pick up. Sidearms as well. The first round on the board, they convert their first gun round, and that's good to see. That's, as you said, that could be the tipping point, is that you can see really sided halves here. It actually can swing quite far, you know, 9-3s. But to keep it pretty early on the board and to not let them get away with that first real gun round is a really good sign here.
Oh, absolutely. And how this round in particular went, I don't think S2G's too happy with it, right? It was a bonus for Falke, and they only walk away with 2 rifles. And the early picks, like the one that S2G found, the one that Salasun found, were perfect. But then once there was that regroup from Falke to fight together towards the actual site, I think that's when you already got the first blood advantage. You need to stop fighting. And speaking of fighting, Aja, showstopper online after contesting that orb outside of B long there. S2G had the stack of players there, but didn't decide to re-challenge or fight for it. So we'll keep that showstopper in back pocket for the time being. Check to see what else goes their way.
Slow round here, very stark change of the pace here. Now it's going to be Lida clearing on through. It's going to be the call to start creeping on up. It's going to have everyone on this site on high alert. Initial contact isn't going to go their way, and that's going to be cause for even more pause right now. To smoke, not to smoke, that is the question currently on their minds to deal with long, but actually they choose not to, luring them, baiting them into this fight perhaps.
Yeah, we know. We've seen that S2G like to take fights, and this is why, because they can just win them outright. No utility, no nothing of support. It's just dry a swing, and you are good to go. Promise X says, I'm not having any more of these B fights. I'm going to regroup with our double alert that was over towards A, right? And now they're just using initiator util to try and keep these players at bay. Flush players like Leroy Sane or more known as Reezy. A little bit at bay here, and it's just, again, S2G, when they actually get to these site fights, getting pieced apart just a little bit. And we get to see them gain that control back.
In the line here. Ooh, spots a shoulder, dips out of there. Cellarson finds a pick, and now everyone has to be careful. 1 versus 3 online. They do kind of line up there, but it is going to be the pick found. Defuse comes on through. Not really much you can do with so many heads and so many gun barrels pointing in your direction there. So 2 versus 2. We are going to line up the scoreboard, tie it up nicely.
There we go. And again, it's S2G take certain risks until they hit like a marginal point of no return, right? Like Aji here, beautiful risk, high reward, the 2-piece here. Even right here, right? Reezy or Leroy Sane taking this engagement. I think Rain swinging maybe was a little bit too much and was toying with the line, but still, again, 2v3, they're willing to play those odds on the retake, and it works out super, super well. Now, money reset for Falke, a little mismatch with the ults that are starting to come online, right? One off the Nightfall, you already have the Orbital Strike and the Seekers. Secure to see if they're going to save him for an all-out brawl in the next, and hopefully S2G maybe drain some of theirs on this eco, or if we'll see them try to use it to convert if they get a lucky pick or two.
Ooh, a little bit of a spray. He's not going to find anything. Smoke's coming out. Suddenly this gets a lot harder there. Tether's going to catch Annie, and that's going to put... Oh, actually it catches multiple of them. Chinook as well found. And that's going to hold them very firmly in their track. Showstopper comes on out over the top there. It is not quite going to connect. Chinook's found a pick, and Annie's got one with the boom bot. So the utility going to find something nonetheless, and a route into the site. But everyone's rotated on over. Zinna's got the first pick here. Fighting for their life here. Prowler after Prowler coming their way, but they will hold on. And actually, it's forced to rotate over towards B. It's pretty quick, and they're quick on it as well. But Monarch, a lovely pick on the exit there, is going to whittle the numbers even further.
Bring them down.
This has been such an investment-heavy round. Falke need to convert this one to 2v4. The odds are getting more paramount with each pressing moment. Kamisek through elbow as well, able to find the final Sheriff kill to put Falke back on top, right? Basically a thrifty round minus the 1 Guardian to complement the rest of those Sheriffs, and that's why you invest ultimates on eco rounds, right? It was a huge call as well after boasting both these ultimates to rotate, and I think it's because the Seekers, none of them went flank, right? They were all going towards that CT, super close space, super early detection, and as a result, a beautiful call there. Whoever's leading is succinct and direct, and they even got that showstopper out as well from Agia, so huge wins left, right, and center to, again, try to make this a more decisive half here.
Yeah, it is. It's a good tonal set, right? It's really setting the pace here. They lost the first couple, but here we go. Chinook lining up, hoping someone's going to peek through this little bit of a gap. And indeed, legs spotted, legs taken down there, spraying away just in case someone goes for a little bit of a trade. But alas, no one even wants to dare peek this. More smokes come out, and that is a stark sign they are not welcome here right now. But they are just going to sit on the other side and wait this on out.
I mean, I would too. Last round on the eco, they had a really, really effective flash to the wall, cleared out that space. The Seize combo as well, just kind of keeping those players back, but now here you have Annie with a full weapon can just satcheling through. 1 kill showstopper will be online, but this is a different approach from S2G, right? You've lost Aja, you've lost, right, your top fragging individual, so it's more just appeasal utility. Incendiary, etc. Try to force them back without taking direct contact because you realize you maybe have been fighting a bit too much. So Orbital Strike instead, they're just waiting for delay, waiting for the tap, but looks like Falke has a play.
Strike comes out. It's going to take so much space. Annie there, showstopper in hand, hoping someone's going to show face, but unfortunately looking the wrong way. Will be taken down before it can be fired off. Now Sex is going to find the trade. Rainsa, lovely pick to find there, and they've got them trapped on site here. Spike is down though. They're fighting for their lives, and with Xena going down, that does look like that is all over and done. But they've made it pretty effective with what they came into that round with.
Oh, yep. 3 players standing strong for Falke, and S2G, I'm starting to see that kind of switch up a little bit. Again, trying to keep more players alive for the late retake, but All in all here, I want to see how the rest of the lay around went. That orbital strike was huge, right? They had no control over towards triple. They had no backside control, and that just threw off every form of denial that S2G wanted to go for. And without a sentinel realization that the last was going for the flank, yeah, this is where you may want to start taking a timeout. We mentioned that snowballing. Yeah, we mentioned you can come back from it on a map like Bind, but you still don't want to be in that deficit. I mean, you are the one dominating last time in that first round of the group stage.
Yeah, and we saw it. They kind of just were left unchecked. They were allowed to build these rounds without too much of a timeout being called to really question it, to try find an answer to them. I believe we genuinely don't know who, if anyone, is calling this team, if there's even a set IGL, but there's a lot of voices with a lot of experience to pitch on in here, which I think in a timeout like this is going to be... There's a lot of opportunity for them to have something to say about this, and to really solidify on what they've been doing well and where they've been finding the weaknesses, hoping that it hasn't really been caught onto just yet. But timeout, a second just to pause, to take a breather as well, because we did see it a couple of times as when Kamisek was getting, you know, really hot on the trigger and was just on a streak, was getting a little bit too aggressive and making some quite insane plays over on that Omen. So maybe a good thing to just take a beat.
Well, S2G, I honestly really mesh with this idea. I was thinking about on a full buy round, maybe trying to flip things through shower, but again, if they're having issues holding down these sites, if they're having issues retaking them, it's best to nip it at the bud, at the source, at the execution. So super deep A-line show them that this is a pretty hefty B-lean, and now that's a rifle handed to your current top frag. Try and fight towards Fallon, but you don't want to lose his weapon, so Ajia taking it careful, taking the sidestep approach. And just like that, they have the advantage they came for in twofold spades, and looks like Falke starting to have their backs up against the wall, have to make a decision. Feeling forced into this B site where there's still a stack here even from S2G, despite the flank pressure.
Yeah, I mean, they can't really go back. They know that there's been so much push from the defense side here. So forward is the only way they can go. The flash is immaculate, and it's going to be picks all around. And there you have it. Quick as you like it. A thrifty on the board. Much needed from S2G to get themselves back in the game. Keep this gap relatively close. And, I mean, it's been a very back and forth cat and mouse game that we've seen coming out here. But I love the proactivity on that defense there.
Oh, really effective. And I kind of, again, want them to do that on the rifle rounds to obviously a respectable degree. Don't need to be overheating when you may have just disrupted the economy of your opponent. But all in all, and we're getting that back and forth. I really like to see it. S2G do have some ultimates as well to now kind of snowball into that comeback angle, but you can see already the modifications from Falke, right? They realize, okay, ZT Monarch needs to be back on that lurk so they don't walk down and get all that A space for free like they did previously, but say disrespecting it nonetheless. This is what I wanted to see, that early pressure, just to get information, right? So you can frame, like, you know that they're coming A, you know that the stack is leaning in this direction, and that's why we see such a default approach from Falke. Like, you've seen a fade A, you've seen a raise B, and this is bold to try and refight.
I do quite like that Chinook was just holding for it, though. That they know that they got aggressive, and there it is. It's going to pay off. Patience is a virtue, and it pays dividends right there.
Oh, no. The timing! That is an insane kill from Annie. And now, yeah, you got a kill there. You're going to start leaning in this direction. Just try and...
You know, there's no immediate pressure as well because you've just come over from A, so you've got that little bit of a safety net from behind you. Now Rainsa, probably very worried about what's to come. Is going to get tethered, is I think just able to nip around the corner though. Annie holding on, they've got the site. Can they take any space further than the site? Potentially, maybe not. The rotates are quick on in. Smoke, it's going to be flying through. It's a little bit of chip damage. So much information here though. 2 players spotted, and that's going to be all eyes diverted. Here we are. Salazar got a quick window there. I think spotted a little bit of Annie, but chooses not to spray and reveal their location. Rains are held at bay by the Molly. Finds the first onto Kamisek. Now needs a little bit more to help alleviate the pressure for a team to be able to activate. Now that all that steam utility is gone, but unfortunately, by the time they're able to get a line of sight on into the site, it's all done.
Yeah, at a 2v3, I think is when they decide to invest at orbital strike, but just as it comes through, that's when we see Falke go for the kill, go for the fight. But this was the tipping point, honestly, when these three players regrouped, I think, and just triple swung Leroy Sane, punishing again this seeking tendency out of S2G that really did lead to their kind of dominance in their first matchup. And again, they are looking so insanely coordinated for only having one best of one under their belt, right? And that's super impressive right now. But that's why we see a switch up here. Agia, operator in hand, could be what they need to bring some stability to this defense to again push that first blood agenda through. In the meantime, yeah, they're not liking how Agia's walked through showers. Now they've had again Leroy Sane walk through showers. They're gonna fight for this control early.
Yeah, and they've invested so much into this. I see a judge. I'm a big fan of the judge, but I mean, in a round like this, we've got the lucky knowledge of having the mini-map, right? But we can also tell that this is gonna be a difficult weapon to try have impact later in the round if they continue to lean towards finishing A here. That's not exactly a retake weapon. That's a space holding weapon.
Okay. Once again, it's kind of a short group up. They really like scaling off this toxic screen. No, this is, I think, the latest that we have not had contact made. And that's going to come in the form of the Prowler. Immediate answer back to clear this space, though, since the solo sky over towards Shower. I'm curious to see, especially with this Incinerator coming in. Shower, Xena has to perform this position, right? Is the support coming through? 30 seconds. On this call in Nightfall, only one player from Shower when the majority of the pressure is here. But this is where I said Xena can, and looks like she is going to deliver.
Lines up the first two. Kamisek does find a little bit of an answer in the two of their own. Molotovs immediately go out, and it's going to buy them the space for that spike to go on down. But now they've got to find a post plan. Actually, able to walk out a little bit of the way they came. Chinook still utility available to try and punish here. Boomball gets taken down. Leroy saying there's a pick of their own line and needs to step up, needs to make something huge here. Viper's pick goes out and suddenly Chaos range. We talked about that judge not being a retake weapon, but there it is. Viper's pick goes down. Lider now left. One player jumps out of the smoke. Now whittled down to a 1 versus 1. Switch over to the rifle. Gonna tap on the spike there, trying to half it, but immediately gonna get peeked out. Isn't gonna be immediately taken down. And there's the fight, there's the swing, there's the victory. And the win comes on through the fact that you're able to isolate it that far. A well-earned victory. And there you go, paint shell for good luck.
Well-earned clutch, that is for sure. The first time we've seen Agia alive this late, and it turns up in spades. I mean, I need to see that operator kill from his perspective, because that was an absurd close-range shot to keep that 1v1 clutch hope alive, and they baited Chinook out perfectly as well after. Honestly, they should have been dead to rights from the first swing, right? The defusal tool completely blocking out the sideline as to what cubby they were tucked away in. Like, they got incredibly lucky, and then, yep, played them like a fiddle. There we go again, keeping things close, keeping things in this cat and mouse affair where, again, we've got a buy, we've got some big ticket ultimates. It feels like we're copying each other's work at this point, just round after round, but that's one way to shatter the silence, make a switch up.
Oh, immediately through the smoke. That's a pick to find there. Salsa on high alert, no one's aware. There was one likely more lovely find from Racer and is not going to stick around to find out if there's going to be a trade there. Salsa backs away, doesn't actually have time to get the smoke on out as they're being pressured. And there's the one taken down immediately, throwing all of the utility at this one choke point, and there it is, the call just to rotate. But look at this position. They're already getting flanked. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They don't even know it yet. Annie needing to fight for this spot. Oh, and there it is. Xena gonna find the final pick. A team ace, everyone shipping on in, and that's gonna tie us up 5-5. In this game, as you said, it's copying the homework, and they're like, don't make it too obvious. Don't make it too obvious. So there's been some slight variation in it, but it's been difficult for teams to put together consecutive rounds here.
No, absolutely, and I do think it is because they're kind of changing the fundamentals of how they play. S2G, it took a few rounds of calibration, but they're doing exactly what I kind of said I wanted to see coming out of that timeout, which was to play interference instead of retake, instead of kill everybody from the get-go, right? And that's exactly what we saw with that entire TP play, right? As soon as you have a confirmation on where they are, where you've kept them at bay enough, you lock in on what your strength is, which is right now fragability and just aim, and you're able to disrupt. So I think that's where Falke, is trying to be like, okay, what can we do here? How can we not fall into these traps? We're running a double initiator as well. We should have good information that this is coming. And I want to kind of go back to, I really liked their default look when it wasn't just ZT Monarch on the lurk, but it was like, okay, ZT Monarch's alone, like Hookah, you have the Rays belong, you know, you have a Sky Shower, then you have like 2 or 3 short. Like, I really like that because as soon as they see ZT Monarch alone right now, they're kind of assuming the stack's on the other side. And S2G's been right in that regard. So, want to see if they can do that. Maybe sell a fake with a Nightfall or something along those lines here. Looks like for the meantime, eco round, throw that idea out the window. You just want to group and go and see what you can do. And I mean, Hookah, Annie, Bucky, this could be a great way to get a nice upgrade off of Rainsa and see if you can use that to convert.
Yeah, Rainsa actually decides to back away onto site there, and we can tell definitely a good call. No fight going to be initially isolated here. He says he's going to clear them all out. I love the pace that we're seeing from here. And it's going to cause some stall problems there with the snake bite. There we go, jump on over the top immediately, and it's a lovely pick from Annie, but it does not go without an answer. Rainsa waiting. He's not going to be able to see anything here. He's going to wait till teammates come on over just to make sure that she doesn't fight alone in this, with a showstopper coming out, and it's going to go, he's going to find 2. And there it is, picks away Chinook 1 with the Sheriff, but that is all it's going to find, and that is a very stark way to put down a very nice attempt to trying to find something with the econ.
Wow. And S2G keep themselves in that lead. And I mean, I was trying to talk about like very, very sided halves, and we have a really strong, I think, chance at anything's on the 6-6, right? I mean, looking back at that, again, great attempt. Annie with the Bucky. Great entry there, getting past all of that util. And again, I do like these eco investments, but Aja just... yeah, not afraid to invest the showstopper on these eco rounds. Like they did it previously, didn't work. This time it does. So now this is where we really got to see Falke and the timeout changes come into effect. It looks like they're just keeping the ZT Monarch on a little bit closer to the leash, a little bit closer so he doesn't get picked off. And in the meantime, they're just kind of waiting out this initial kind of refusal process, and then they're going to scale off of, again, what was a setup trap play. Really, really effective.
And that orbital strike causes so much disruption. It buys them so much room to work here. Orb is going to be captured as well, and that's going to be the showstopper online for them. Salasan needs to find the pick here, needs to do something to hold ZT Monarch at bay. The back away there, they know it's just not worth the fight, not worth losing your life. 4 versus 5, and they've got, oh, actually a decision here to rotate a player on over.
Okay. I like cutting noise.
It's really
I'm a little worried about Celisson being in this fragile corner, being as low HP as they are. Nightfall's gonna confirm 2. Showstopper should clear out this corner regardless. A beautiful flash though. Get some chip damage at least for Celisson's efforts there, but all in all, the Nightfall, the perfect tool for solidifying this plant. Xena Reforce respected as well as finally the players come through. It's going to be very difficult. No showstopper this time at the hip to complement the operator. Comes with a turn in this retake, and 6-6 looking more and more promising with each passing second.
Very much so. All swing on out, and they're just going to sit on their hands here. Spraying away, giving away so much information, jump on down, it's risky, but they had to do something. Actually, it doesn't pay off immediately, but 1 versus 3. Xena's got to make a final stand, but Kamisek, beautifully played, just holds down the trigger for both. And 6-6 half, they've been going back and forth. I can think of no scoreline more fitting for the match we've seen so far at the halftime.
And for that first spot in playoffs as well, right? And whoever wins this will be kind of that top contender, right? For that Phase 3 qualification in Project Blender overall, not just, right, for that 10K or 10K Euro prize pool, And I mean, here we go. 6-6. This pistol is gonna carry a lot of weight to it. And it looks like Falke is trying to just snowball the momentum they found by capping off that half. This is gonna be an aggressive A fight, and S2G is lucky that they are taking no part in it.
Yeah, exactly. Salasan looking to go into that armor instead. Stim beacon out, gonna take immediate long control. Smoke's gonna go out, so I might just have to hit pause for a second. Only for a sec though. Now they immediately continue crawling up long here. A little bit of a fight behind them, but at least, you know, a couple of players spotted. And once Rainsa goes down, they can at least be the early warning beacon. Actually though, the players head over towards A, and now they've got a really long rotate to head back on over. Chinook hoping to find something through the wall. Here it is gonna be up close. Immediately headshot. It's beautiful. Monarch slowly being forced back inch by inch as they conga around the corner. Here is the swing. It's going to be everything. The double swing on out. 2 picks found. Make that a third. And now the final player buried onto sight. And Celasun gets it done. The swing round elbow immaculate.
There we go. Again, trade-offs for having that super, super heavy stack towards A short. Gotta play that then hefty B retake here, and yeah, you get Reigns to the lurk player, but then the response from S2G here is perfect, right? While they know that that mass of players that was either gonna be flanking or is gonna be rotating back through CT, they take that elbow space, they take that CT space, and it felt a little bit disconnected there, right? You're like, okay, they're pushing us elbow, we need to push onto site, but then half your players make it out and the others are stuck in the choke. So as a result, S2G keep wraps on that super, super well. Again, playing the lead back after they've been the ones kind of trailing, it felt like, for the majority of the first half. And now, I mean, these are hefty, hefty weapons, right? Adja, standout player, I would argue, for this map so far with the Vandal in hand as well. The Gamble stack, once again, not going Falke's way either.
It is not. But safety in numbers, might be able to find a couple of picks, exit maybe later in the round. But for now, poor Kamisek left with the horrible job of being the one player not in the gamble. And actually there it is. Knows what is about to come. Paint shells over the top. He's going to put the smokes on down to buy a little bit of a safety net. Just going to get chipped away by the paint shells though. The jump on out is going to be taken down. Now the rest of the team can come on over and see what they can piece together with the rest of this. But the gamble stack falls through and now the rest is just damage control.
Even in that solo site clear hut, it's double swing, right? Adja follows up the Guardian jump out of the smoke. So nice. And honestly, Falke here don't even look like they're going for the retake. They look like they're trying to just die to the spike, right? Deny these early ult orbs. I mean, if Adja goes hunting with this Vandal, that'd be like 1-2 off probably from that showstopper. So, yeah. Looks like S2G. No real contest. Gonna go up to 8 here. Falke gonna be leaning in to that rifle round to see what they can change. Unfortunate that both rounds where they go for the early A fight, the secret A stack that been this B-centric thing out of S2G. I'm curious to see if we're going to see the immediate change though in the next with the rifles in hand, or if it's going to go just to more of a traditional defensive bind look. No, a little.
Has anything today been traditional though?
No, I wouldn't say so.
So I mean, but I think that's quite nice. I think it's really setting the tone for what we're going to be expecting from these teams, not only now, but as you said, this is qualification through to stage 3 that they are fighting for. So I mean, going into the rest in the later halves of the tournament as well. And there we go. Okay, looking pretty normal, things considered for now.
Okay. I do like this position from Annie here. Knows exactly where to look off the one way. Adja though, crosshair trained exactly where she is. See if they challenge it as soon as the smoke drops. This looks like they're gonna like 3, 2, 1 and it's gonna be a multi-swing of doom.
The multi-swing of doom. Well, we've got high expectations for it now. Whether we see that come to fruition, they've played out long, not heard anything. So players on A, high alert. Here we go, Monarch. There's the first swing. Gonna be taken down there. And he forced off of the angle that we sung such high praises of. But Chinook, with 2 back-to-back, is gonna try and stop the plant going down. It will be unsuccessful. And Annie still hiding on out here. Rainsa needs to take some space beyond the side. Almost catches the reload there. Chinook's been a pain in their side the whole time. And finds yet more. And Kamisek, I mean, they've got everything they want and more. They've ferried them in towards lamps. Do still need to get on that defuse, though. Xena holding the line. All spots on the jump for the utility throw, but they're forced into lamps. They're tethered as well, and now they will be so snared and taken down. And Celasun, it's a final stand. It's a Hail Mary, but it is destroyed by Annie.
in that round was just I think revealed two things. One, it was a tale of two util combos, right? I mean, the beautiful sees Dizzy to get that spike down and contest through that wall that set S2G up for success, and then I feel like a great util combo just to allow Falke to get back onto that spike on the retake, and we can't understate Chinook's presence here. I feel like S2G's keeping things a bit too simple, while Falke have a really, really strong map holistic view, right? And that punished them this time around, right? There was no lurk towards showers, there was no re-clear attempt once they took sight until it was too late, right? And that came out of Rainsa, who just didn't have a good enough weapon to counter the wall bangs from the Guardian in that really close angle. So now they remedy that mistake immediately, right? 3 fighting for the space. Chinook said, I popped off here, I can do it again. Thought about sticking around and re-fighting it. Dog just gets confirmation that they're in fact just there for the orb. I like this. Look who's right back up on the line and creeping up now.
Oh, spots somebody and does not want to give this space away for anything. Actually does end up having to concede it. And now that suddenly looks a little bit more tempting to go for again, baiting out the utility. Battle of the Fades. And actually Chinook not going to be able to win this one on out. Used all of their good luck in the last round there. Kamisek now having to cling on the sole player on site, dancing between the boxes and the smokes. Tethered. Ooh, needs Monarch to help alleviate some of the issues that they're facing. Finds a pick of their own still going here, and suddenly the numbers dwindling to actually try to get onto site. Reinforcements called over, so they're not even given an easy pathway there. We get Wingman putting on the plant there. Spike goes down. They've just passed each other, the timing, but luckily Monarch is aware, is ready for it. Miscommunication just off the back of the timing, but it is dispatched of Celasun, hoping that they're going to swing, peek, go for a little bit more space for this retake, and they do indeed. One by one, they peek, one by one, they will fall, and still has not been punished for it yet. Xena just tucks on in, doesn't even need to activate just yet. Rainsa goes down, Celasun gets another, and now Annie knows that there's a player there going to swing one out. Paint Shells to deal with the issue, but there's the 4K, and it doesn't even need Xena's position.
Wow. What a round. I really thought that Falke was doing a good job reclearing that space. Again, we saw S2G remedy the mistakes of having this be a double-pronged exec, and that set them up really, really well for front sight control. But again, I feel like the lapse in Molly's Celasun's position here, it was really, really effective, and they just kept swinging to their death one after another. And Celasun's had a quiet map compared to that deadlock they were hyping up in the pre-show from Sunset, and it's just like, wait for me, right? Like, everyone's stealing my kills, but when I get the opportunity to shine, I will. This spotlight is mine. That round, as a result, goes away. S2G. Now, not a lot of weapons in hand. A little bit of an aggro. A little bit of a hopeful attempt down stands that isn't going to go Falke's way.
Launching.
Yeah, distinctly backfires there. 2-player disadvantage. Jump onto site, and that will be able to... Spike getting down pretty early. There's nothing that Kamisek's going to be able to do to get back into that. Utility bullets are blazing. Now Zeti Monarch hanging around. Going to get spotted there by the Prowler. So location now known. Has a player that's managed to get into elbow, but they're not unaware of this possibility. Smoke's going to go down, and actually that's going to be their sort of commitment. Not really care too much about it, but there's going to be a little bit of a push, and Chinook's going to find a way to escape, but I think that is going to be it. The mercy of escaping.
Oh, Vandal collected from Chinook. That's a little surprising, but all in all, I'd say decent they were able to find that kill. Now only one off from a Nightfall for Chinook. We'll see if that comes in effect for the last 2 rounds, but again, that was kind of a half-buy situation there out of Falke. So all things considered, I wish they maybe got another ult or 2 out of S2G, because we're starting to climb into that grind time where, again, a round or 2 make this hard to turn around. And yeah, that's exactly why the timeout comes through. It is that pivotal moment. And it is just unfortunate they don't really have too many ults right now to fight S2Gs, because they have been so dominant at the start of this half.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. This is, of course, the most we've got to see from either of these teams, both of their matches earlier being a little bit speedrun. So we're really getting to see a little bit more from both of their sides. We talk about Falke as their attacking side. They were so dominant that every time it felt like they got that spike down, it was kind of just done after that. They would go hunting, but there was no real challenge for that, and that was kind of their win condition, was once they got onto site, it was done and dusted. Now, not really felt the same on this this map, and now they've got to do a little bit more on their defense side and actually got to put that into a little bit more work. And it's showing some more signs that need, you know, little areas that need tightening up. But as we said, this is the place to do it. These are the rounds to do it. They both won their first matchup, which means they get that safety net. It's whoever hits 2 wins or 2 losses first goes forward or goes home.
Absolutely. This round, again, that time had to be taken because it's going to be like your last is 11th. You're going to be broke on the 12th, so it would be huge. We've seen both of these teams get really strong thrifties, right? In peak moments that kept things close in the first half. We're demanding one of those kind of out of Falke right here, where they have 0 room for error after the fact, and it feels like they've called, I'm going to say, maybe an aggressive fight, possible season 8 combos in the works, but now with this, oh yeah, you have to respect it. You have to completely disengage and back off.
Bomb buddy out. Yeah, they tried to fight previously and it went badly wrong, so the call to sit on their hands to get the rotates over quickly, I think the right call to be made. Ult Orb is going to be secured there, and that is going to be the Nightfall online available for them as well, but a round where you've already shown your hand that it's Guardians, and that's the best that you're really going to have, is whether you even want to invest it right now. It doesn't look like they're particularly too eager, but again, pivotal rounds.
Okay. I do like this, just contacting up, trying not to invest too much util over towards Hookah. Bombot's cleared out mostly the front side as well, so it is just some of these problem areas. Right side hut that the Showstopper should just be the one to clear out, and the Dizzy gets confirmation instead, so Aji should be able to send this sailing into CT off the Incendiary, or, okay, Refight Elbow works as well. In the meantime, yeah, they've gotten every box checked, every angled cover, but if Z-Team wants to win the fight anyways, things could get dicier. It's a 2v4. But 2 players a lick away from death. That's why Aji's gonna take the forefront. But the other 2 heavy HP players will take the back line. Ooh, these are nice kills, but with so much HP loss, probability Verdinus dropping.
Yep, and there's the angle being held, but the swing is immaculate. Now suddenly 2 versus 2. They've got a little bit of an option. The smokes are going to fade, but the timer, that's what's really going to put the nails in the coffin. Celasun actually wants to be the one to close the lid. And now it's looking dire. Nothing really to be found. Xena's going to find the kill. Ooh, going to be able to get away just about in the nick of time there. Celasun unfortunately unable to do so, but at this point, you got the 11th. We talked about that being the pivotal round. That's basically, you know, win or overtime secured for you here, and you've got that huge buffer to work with. So, yeah, can't get away alive, but they've done everything they need to.
Yeah, great attempt. I have to praise Falke there for trying to convert again a thrifty round, but that's again S2G. We saw this in the first half. We're seeing it continue here more successfully. Not afraid to invest just a few ultimates to make sure that these pivotal rounds get through the line, even if it means they're investing them against a half-buy or no-buy situation. Showstopper saw the thrash. And now it should be Nightfall with the strike to close out. Hopefully, lock in that spot, that overtime you mentioned. Ooh.
Lovely fly on in there, but it is only able to find one before it's immediately punished. Lighter gonna go down as well. Now hiding in the smokes with the shorty. In a sec. They've still got a little bit of a handle on the back half of the site, but that spike's going down on the other side. Prowler through the side. Chinook high alert on their tiptoes. Kamisek waiting, now holding the angle, but the issue is you can't just hold the line. You need to take this space on back. That pink shell's going to force Celasun into the fight with Annie. Annie going to capitalize, finds a second as well. Showstopper back on out once more. Spotted someone going to fire it over towards Lamps, but the issue is still need to get on that defuse, and Xena is just not going to give you the opportunity. Going to try and half it, but that smoke is doing so much heavy lifting. Crows go fake, and there it is, an 8th grasped from the jaws of defeat.
Wow. Super interesting round there. I mean, Falke, I like that again how they played the retake, how they got someone on the spike immediately using that util for sectioning, but ultimately, I mean, the entry was so clean, but they almost over-invested, right? So they didn't have too much to rely on, and they were over-peeking dry into what they didn't even know was an operator Vanny, right? 2 players die here. It didn't feel like there was effective enough communication, because then, yeah, right there. I don't know if that was intuition or they saw an elbow peeking out, but that second kill was everything. And just strong util combos, a little bit late molly delay, and suddenly, yeah, Falke might be right back into this. Money, not yet gone for S2G, but it's getting closer.
Lovely pick there from Annie. It's super aggressive, and it's going to pay dividends. Chinook pulls back. Sixth sense tingling that something is amiss, but actually, looks like maybe looking to pivot away, but the issue is their pivot point. Oh, if they go down, if Leroy Sane is unable to keep fighting, alas, not the case. And now the opportunity to work back towards A has just been opened up even more.
Ooh. They already used a lot of that delay util over towards showers. The ZT Monarch just has to be a passive bystander. You're listening, the wingman listening to the boombot, communicating. There's two at least here. This is an interesting decision. Fighting solo, the Nightfall not in time, and ZT Monarch somehow avoids death and gets another on top of it. Pit not having to be invested. But oh no, not Aja. You can't do it again. ZT Monarch is the king in this server this time.
Yep, and we said that a round to get them onto 11 could have been everything. That could have been game, set, match. Alas, still something left in the tank here for Falke, and they're making it work. It's very scrappy and chaotic, and it's coming down to a lot of individual multi-kills, but it's working really well for them here. And Monarch, you know, activating there for the last. It's just so cohesive, which we've seen a lot of today unexpectedly, I think.
Well, last time out of regulation. And they just want that 12, right? They just want that overtime security for the time being. Do not want to drop down to the lowers. You chose, right, to play this map as well, instead of the one you just won on in dominant fashion. Again, they have such clean execs. It's just small mistakes here and there that are adding up, right? Overswinging an operator, overplaying your hand, and I think if they just kind of hunker down, I'm hoping that's what Mavira is reminding them of, is just, again, you guys are finding the advantage and you're letting it tip back in the favor of Falke. And this round, again, they have a very similar, I think, Flood approach, I'd say, for a retake game, where you can pop an orbital strike, reclaim that space, and Hyperswit's only going to add the complication of even getting onto the A site, which is what they're kind of primed for. Because I don't think S2G's been denied the A site once this half, have they? It's always been the retake.
Yep, they've very much been, you know, they've never really been off-site completely. It's never been a full retake, but it's definitely been the half that has been planted on. And here it is. Oh, Viper's Pit comes out immediately, but forced out of the angle, and they couldn't manage to cross over. There it is, the orbital strike finds a pick, two already, and they're not even going to clear this. Oh, it's a disaster. Still is unaware. There it is, finally the trigger discipline comes to a halt. And the Viper's Pit really cuts up and leaves these two sets of players on an island, and we're saying looking to try meet back up with the team, but now we'll be unable to do so, just holding the line with this operator. ZT Monarch going for the flank here, just with the classic in hand.
This is interesting. The amount of respect Falke is showing here, right? They know that Leroy Sane slipped the net. ZT Monarch on this wrap could put an entire disaster spell. They're trying to respect the poison cloud, and ZT Monarch responds with disrespect, right? From fighting demons to slaying them there. From round start to round end, and what you hope to do is convert off this operator you collected from Annie. And they are 2 kills away from it. You know exactly where ZT Monarch is. It's this pesky sky that they still have to locate, and they have to recover the spike on top of it.
Unfortunate, and to do it all with the operator as well, wide out in the open for the taking, and there it is, Lider with the final pick, and that closes up the scoreboard almost entirely. And momentum is something that we've talked heavily about today, and it looks like it has shifted foot here. That 11th was meant to be everything, it is not, and Monarch, you know, not always necessarily at the top of the scoreboard in the frags department, but my gosh, have they been impactful.
Oh yeah, impact frags for sure. I mean, there was a multi-kill outside of U-Haul. I remember that moment right there at the re-wrap after... Again, they needed to invest the orbital strike, right? Just to keep the pit online after Aja comes satcheling through. A lot of moving pieces, and honestly, this round could decide if we go to overtime or not.
I mean...
Or if even Falke maybe can even Super 11 for all I know.
I was going to say, the winning in regulation is still an opportunity here for Falke. Yeah. They've denied that 12 very adamantly.
It would come down to the 12-11, definitely money-wise, I'd say, for Falke leading. So, you really want to win this, and that's why, yep, ults on the table, invested simultaneously for this reset.
Oh, and Nightfall's not going to find anything.
got
Thrash,
both.
though, has got both, and that's going to give so much space on the site. Actually, going hunting for the
Clear
picks
one.
as well. Not going to find the second, and oh, going to be counting your lucky stars about that. Kamisek still alive, now available to get back into the fight. Annie's got this long angle here with the op, but they need to retake, and no one's going to be showing their face just yet. Celis on the first to peek, but Chinook as well finds a pick, and the retake, oh, it's so on. Annie looking for a little bit more. It's an awkward angle to work with here. Kamisek finds the first pick here. Flying out of the window is going to get taken down by Xena, and there is a final stand being made here, but it's a 3 versus 1, and Xena, now the last left alive, once more, will not, oh, I mean, gets the isolated fight, but it's not going to win it. Defuse comes through, and it's 11.
I got flashbacks again. When they have all this focus on one avenue of entry, they forget about the other, and you can see the pings immediately coming through as well to start remedying that issue, right? They had a really strong big exec off the ult. They had a really deep control as well, doubled up elbow. You saw Xena as well trying to fight alongside Leroy Sane there, so it wasn't just a one and done. And even again, a beautiful opening from Magia. It falls apart because they don't clear enough space, right? The backstab here is unfortunate, but the group up between Annie as well and this operator was just perfection. Just Falke looking like the more cohesive team right now, and S2G thriving off of, again, aggressive site ticks and maybe individual heroics that aren't going to carry them through. A broken buy, an 11-11. I'm afraid they won't even have money. This might be them like going for OT or giving us up 13-11 style.
Yeah, there is so much weight on this round especially, and that's going to be a huge stall found by the tether. Shells go over, and oh, Chinook finds one before they can even get through the smoke. There's gonna be the, oh, you're right, Celison's got one. Showstopper's not gonna find anything. Chinook desperately just trying to spray. They won't really be able to deny the plant, but they've been the legends of retake, so one more. What is that to ask of them? A little bit of presence shown, an elbow from the dog, but here we are. Pink shells to go over the top. There's going to be a swing off the back of it. Celestine forced off position. Actually taken down by the snake bite. Rainser needs to hold the line. Satchel to try to clear out the position, but they're tucked a little bit too far in. Annie's found one. Showstopper of their own available. And there it is. Goes deep. 1 versus 3 available. It's Xena one more time. Finds the first pick. That, though, is going to be a defense that is so hidden. Finds the first, and they're just going to stick it. And there's 12.
That is so unfortunate. You saw the red light. You knew they were sticking, but you're out of bullets. There's nothing you can do. Your pistol won't get through that wall. And that is a nasty kill as well. Like Leroy saying, just probably kicking themselves. Getting shot through the smoke in that fashion. But you said it, they're the retake masters. And it's showing why this is the classic composition. You cannot stand your ground anywhere, right? You're avoiding mollies that forces you out in the open. That's where Annie's able to find impact with this operator. She's had a turnaround game once they got on the defense. This team has just looked again so well-rounded here. Again, smoke. It felt like S2G adapted so fast. They fixed so many mistakes. Come round and round, and it still might not matter.
Oh, it's, and you look at the utility, you look at the buy. It was meant to be. Everything was theirs, was promised to them when they got that 11th. Alas, they have just not been able to seize the opportunity. One more chance here. Chinook has caused them so many issues here. Isn't able to dodge, but there it is. The peak on through. Chinook goes down. Annie's going to fall as well. Monarch needs to be the hero here. They've already got the player disadvantage and actually been forced pretty heavily offside. Monarch still kicking around, and retake once more. Not being able to keep hold of the site, but they've been good at getting it back. But now disadvantage in the numbers, but the health bars, a couple of them are looking shaky. Are they going to be ready for this? Monarch needs to distract the attention here.
Down to the wire. Flank attempt there, finally capitalizing off a missed angle off the lack of a sentinel. And it's all down to one player, Lida in the 1v1. Celisson on the elevated position, just over peaks. Oh, you expect them to do that?
No,
just like that, we were headed to
overtime.
We have gone from back-to-back landslides to overtime on the precipice of greatness. And, I mean, it was so back and forth at the start, but I was convinced that, you know, Falke, that they surely this would be theirs 13-11, right? But no, the opening picks there, and that was something that Falke were really good at, was winning the early rounds over on their game earlier. And this time they lose the early round, and
Yeah, it feels like Falke has been thriving in the retakes, right, in the late rounds, and I did notice a lot of X's their backside. It felt like S2G just, like, again, weren't happy just sitting with their crossfires on side, are starting to understand that, yeah, they're just gonna get dumped with utility on them, like, literally raining down Hellfire, so they have to take the initiative in the space where it's granted, right? They started disrespecting Falke. We'll see if it serves them well in OT. Sides swapped once again. Reminder, it was 6-6, both sides now.
Enemy down.
And that's a huge opening kill. And again, third turn with the mollies. Sequential order, keeping these players at bay, punishing Kamisek. Super low now.
Yeah, lucky to be alive even, and now they've got to consider other options, but I like this little bit of a proactive push here over towards Link.
It's huge info, yeah.
Because they know there's
rotate the
nothing
fade.
fountain, there's nothing long, they can rotate the fade, and even if, you know, you lose your player in connector here, doesn't matter because it's an early warning signal for the rest of your team to be able to get over, and that's a quick rotate. So
Absolutely.
if you can find a multi-key here, Rainsa, then even better.
Just get one.
Just
get
one.
one.
One's all
Give
you
us
need.
one. Oh, and Season 1, I'm so aware. The clearance, though, isn't good, and Rainsa says, I'm gonna get out of here. I know the entire team's probably coming off that contact. Let me try and get a safe kill if I am on the exit. Little clip to the corner, costing the life. Little trade back, controller for controller.
30 seconds
In
left.
the meantime,
Bring them down.
not quite sure where Ajay got picked. Sorry, where Andy got picked off. But, like I mentioned, they've gotten back to the site in time anyways.
Hiding in the tube. Chinook is going to go down. Celason waiting on the other side.
10
Retake
seconds left.
is on our hands. And that's going to go over. And there it is. The play. That's going to buy you so much time, so much space as well. And now Agia needs to step on up. There's the first. Whittled
player
down.
standing.
Lines up for the next, but Lyda's got the angle. Xena again, last player left standing, and always with so much to be asked of them. Round the corner, Chinook's holding the angle, but unfortunately distracted by the player jumping on up. And there it is, a 13th round. Falke in the lead once more.
Switching sides.
And Lyda and this, again, duelist level confidence these last few rounds has been through the roof.
Enemy down.
Just clutch kills, aggressive, proactive kills, and it's difficult because I feel like S2G has had such creative and on-the-fly adaptation, and then they still are just losing. Like, it's frustrating, I think, to be losing in this fashion after, again, you almost had this map put away, I think 10-7 at one point. And now, you're heading in what really did snowball into this OT for you. Attack half once again. We'll see if they've learned all their lessons and they can put forward around to keep this on the final attempt alive.
See the Odin come on out now. Overtime, maybe the time to be innovating, but still first time we're seeing it this map. Jumping around the corner with a little bit of a jump spot. Not going to find anything just yet.
Bring them down.
Not here so much. And Chinook there with the Prowler. Oh, caught blind, and that's a problem. There's no escape. It's a clunky weapon to maneuver. Monarch is getting heavily punished. Is not going to be caught by the Prowler, so that means there's going to be no expectation by Leroy saying that there's going to be someone there. It's a little bit messy, but still manages to find the kill. And now clear on through. Odin picks back on up there, but Snakebite's going to hold them off on this angle. They're just buying themselves as much time. Agia hunkered down in the smoke, hoping that no one is going to come their way. This is so perfect, and the peak on out spots 2, spots 3, and there it is. We're going another overtime.
That is the perfect counter. Like we said, they've been respecting Falke on these retakes too much, sitting back, sitting those crossfires, and Agia finds the perfect time to slit the net and just completely disrespect this team. And again, S2G, they've never had problems with execs. This was a funny moment to me just because they both have the same brain with the corner clear, the shorty, but wow, the fact that that's crazy bullet accuracy, by the way. Or missed accuracy into the, that should not have happened, but I probably would have been the same outcome regardless there. I mean, beautifully done. Again, I mentioned I wanted to see them fixing the mistakes of the past, and that's exactly what we're seeing, but S2G now, all their plans. Again, First Bloods, where they shine, and you can probably hear ZT Monarch saying, guys, I don't know how many players have just pushed out short, and they just learned.
That's a lovely hold there, and S2G, they're making it happen. They've managed to hold off at least the initial plant, and actually they've bought themselves so much opportunity actually just to deny any having to do retake here. Ooh, Ajia has spotted somebody around the corner, takes a chunk of their health as the price. Now just has to be careful. He's going to call over a little bit of help there, but unfortunately help's not coming. Help's been taken down. Needs to do this alone. There's the first flight. Satchel goes on out. He's going to get shot from mid-air. Lines up the shot. Doesn't even need the showstopper, but has it anyway. And they've bought themselves a huge advantage back in the driving seat once more. And now Falke, they've got to do it on defense.
Wow, I mean, upgrade from their permit to their full license after that to lead this series. And this was perfect. I mean, I think they finally and caught a rare time where Falke players got splintered, right? ZT Monarch's always been on that lurk. I don't think that's too much to write off. But then us also having the Fade get pieced off solo, it's just, it's definitely rare, I would say, for the Falke team. And I think that's, I was gonna say, I was expecting this to be a Falke timeout, but it's S2G actually. They want to put this away, right? Again, you lose this, you have to play another best of one. You win it, you're done. First you going into playoffs, you're happy. So, let's see what the switch up is here. I think this is more a reminder of everything that they've been learning with each failure of a post plant. And again, it's gonna be looking for that opportune moment to flip the site, to get aggressive, or to see if we can convert a successful lurk play. It's another ideal. What else do you think we gotta see here, since this is an S2G timeout after they just won the round?
I want to see early round casualties, right? Because we talked about the retakes from Falke. I think you need to stop them being in a position to mount them, right? If they have enough players, if they have enough utility online to do it, they will. They've shown us that very, very clearly, right? So you need to draw out as much utility. You need to bait out as many players you can early round. You need to give them nothing to work with when you get that spike down. I think would be my main one.
Falke is the one that gives them nothing to work with in terms of finding those opening kills, right? They risk one player at most, and with the operator is the threat of why you can't dry swing everything yourself. And they save all those mollies for the retake, right? You may invest one, I'd say, for keeping the chokes capped off, whether it's a snake biter and a Stindier, but then you have, you know, the CDs, you have two other nades. Like, it's crazy what these compositions offer. They're going back to their tried and true, the eggs. I can see how far they take it this time around.
There's one, and immediately the paint shell over the top to do as much damage as possible as they try and capitalize. Annie not going to get line of sight in. They've got to be careful not to overextend here. Chinook, face full of bullets there. Annie's got a second. They're feeding the picks. 4 versus 3. That spike's still yet to go down. Smokes. That's the final one expended for now. And now Rainsa looking to take that space back, hoping that nobody is hiding around here. That orb's not been taken and raises some questions, but everything's going to come to a standstill for a second. They've not got enough room to be carefully planting that spike. They've still got warriors, and always a bit matter of timing. Gun not pulled on out. Monarch's going to find that pick. Spike will go down, but suddenly there's a whole other dimension to this retake. In fact, they've got people coming from all entries onto site.
They have no control, and that's exactly what Rainsa was trying to remedy. Again, the reminders that were probably, you know, shouted out in that timeout. They know that Falke has these deep deposits that are so hard to get players out of. Annie,
last player
on
standing.
hand, but it's again Zeta in an unwinnable situation, much like the past.
First lines up the second. The defuse, however, has a bodyguard, and their name is Kamisek. And that will be another overtime that we will be seeing. And I think you make a good point. There's another team that will have to play what will be their third best of one today, which doesn't sound like a whole lot necessarily, but with a new team, with, you know, new roles for some of these people, it's going to be a lengthy day. It's going to be a stamina builder, but I think it might be good experience. You don't want to be on that knife's edge of elimination, but it's repetitions at the worst case scenario. You've got to see the silver linings, but the longer this drags on, the harder that final series is going to be.
I mean, not just that, but right, sitting out for a map, you're not as warmed up, you're not as rearing to go, right? I mean, yeah, you can hit the DMs, you can hit the range, but it's not the same as having just played a match. So, like I'm gonna say, like S2G did, right? Coming right out of it, Falke was sitting back watching the Novo Nightingale game as well, but now it's Falke the one to use the timeout, so no more until this game is over, until we have our first playoff spot filled. Again, these two teams are such polar opposites. If they feel so perfectly matched, though, like it's super entertaining to watch just how they've been playing these maps. And it is just unfortunate that Annie was able to shut down Aji on that exec because again, they have number one plus 30 kills. Number two, they figured out how they need to fix these post plants. So it's like Falke is just playing stable, like unwavering, right? And they're just like losing first blood sometimes, like some trade fights. It's S2G that's been having to change. And speaking of change, Yajia operator set up in the corner. Either early fade hunt towards Fountain. Maybe even toying with the idea of pushing all the way down to the sand line, which Kamisek is holding, but we've seen some insane op shots from Raji. I wouldn't push past them to win this engagement outright anyways.
It depends on whether the barrel is going to show and give enough opportunity. It doesn't even matter. Around the corner with Mark speed. And there's one. Chinook, ooh, just backs away. I mean, the wall was going to deny any vision anyway. Selasun, ooh, there's a bit of contact. He's got an answer. Gonna put the smokes on out there. Give themselves a little bit of room to work with, an angle to toy with, but there's still a lot of angle on the left-hand side if you swing, still a lot of vision there. But they are just going to take that as a deterrent and fall back for now.
Okay. Falke. Going for the shower clear. Nice group up as well. Split off your Xena, that is unfortunate overwhelm, and so they're gonna start sinking their teeth in.
30 seconds left.
They are. Rainser cleared out. Selasun is going to have an answer to the aggression, though. There's two. Dodging the flash, but that is going to be the Horn finding it. Lida, though, finds two of their own, and that's going to be not only the advantage, but the spike plant going down here as well. Just Argia left, and they know exactly where they were. They heard the shots, they saw the damage early round, and that's going to be the Seeker trying to find them. Now has to push on forward. Awkward angle switches over to the sidearm, and there it is. Lida finds the third pick in the round and gives them an advantage. Now Falke going into the second half of overtime with a point on up here.
Wow. I mean, I'm just having, like, multiple epiphanies. Like, the fact that Selasun and Lida are, like, the parallels, and that they're, like, when you put them under pressure, they are performing. Literally, Selasun with this multi-kill, Lida with this insane transfer. And also then, Ajia, just the amount of pressure he's under as the Academy player, by the way, that was promoted. With over 30 kills right now. Putting in insane work. And was asked to clutch out that 1v2, but Falke following the timeout, reclaim the lead here. Could be another tipping point, we'll have to see. Vulnerable position, but Cindy, quick escape. You know no one's following you along. We're good to go for this time being.
Oh, so much information there. And immediately throwing a little bit more in as well. Gonna tip in. Somebody hiding on in the teleporter for now. Oh, ready for Annie. No, they are not. Wraps all the way around. Actually can just back away scot-free. Non-committal here, but it's the B site. But they've realized that there's no further aggression. They've not heard any footsteps or anything. So A site, they're probably looking at, thinking is clear.
I do like this play, right? If you've cleared out all of the shower side space, keep two players there. You think someone could have slipped through short, right? Obviously no Viper Wall for the lurk, but it's just smart, right? You'll be able to there to contest it. They take TP. You have a stack on B. Great setup in theory. Let's see it in practice.
Chinook with one, Lida with a second, and it all comes crumbling. This is it. Spike out in the open, the worst possible position it could have fell. But Selasun doesn't want this to be over just yet. The flash is amazing. It's going to deny getting that spike even longer. 20 seconds, it's going to be pixel perfect. Lida finds one more, and Xena the last left alive, the last to fall. And alas, finally, we have a victor. They juke it out. It goes overtime after overtime, but there we have it. Just at the end, they're a little bit of a pull away, and Falke's gone and done it.
Oh, yeah, your first team in playoffs for Project Blender Spotlight. Insane performance, insanely well fought as well. I mean, if you're Alcatia or Novo and you've been waiting, like, sorry you had to wait so long kind of mentality, but again, that is when two teams are meeting each other blow for blow in that regard, against switching things up as much as they have to, like, you could see the visible arc of growth for both of these two teams. And again, Falke just feel like they had a more well-rounded view. They felt more stable. And it was, again, them consistently asking, it felt like S2G to make these changes, to step up when they needed to. And I'm excited to see them in lowers and hopefully in playoffs as well. Just because, again, I feel like we're seeing the growth of some of those players we want to see more from. And we're seeing really strong performances from, again, academy players like Agia. So 60-14, 30 rounds of back and forth action. I mean, look at how even across the board it was for Falke, and I think that was the big difference.
Yeah, and it's kind of been my buzzword lately is sustainability, right? Is if you're relying on just one player to step up in the likes of, Agia, that's not sustainable, not even necessarily just within a map or within a series, but in the long run. You need a more, as you said, holistic view of what's going on. You need to have a more holistic kind of approach to the map, and you need to have the weight evenly spread amongst the team. It's not sustainable to be like, Agia, we need you to step up and get every opening pick. Whereas on the side of Falke was a little bit more evenly distributed, and that's going to give them the edge in the long run, in the longer series, and in the longer maps like this as well.
Absolutely, and I kind of put Lyda and Annie on this pedestal with the role swaps that they were going through, handing off the duelist, and boy, did the role swaps deliver. Lyda was just as aggressive, even more clutch, I would argue, and Annie, once that operator got in hand, just felt so comfortable and really put a major wrench in some of these execs that we saw were really a shining point for S2G. So overall, a very earned well spot from Falke, but Affinity, we have another spot to give away and two more best of ones in the lowers to get there, don't we?